Konnichiwa! I am the Last Otaku, and this is your anime news. I can't wait to tell you about my new channel, so stick around.
And bring along all your hopes and dreams. Together we will find everything that we're looking for. One Piece.
Okay, first things first. I would like to explain something because I know somebody has probably already seen it and is going to make a comment about it. And that's fine if you do, but I'm going to explain it anyway. This picture, as you can probably see, there is no Frankie. This is because when I made this picture back in 2017, I had not met Frankie yet. And so because of that, well, not really because of that, but because of that, I was slightly judgmental to the way Frankie looked. I was not a fan of his design at the time. And that caused me to decide to not put Frankie in the picture, even though he was supposed to be in this particular picture. But I am planning on adding him in it eventually, and hope I don't mess it up eventually. But for now, we're all just gonna have to deal with it. So that is why Frankie's not in here. Now, that aside, this picture right here, is, I mean, most of you can tell this is probably tell. This is Trafalgar Law, and this right here is an Umbreon sitting on his shoulder. Yes, it's a Pokemon. There is a Pokemon hanging out with Trafalgar Law on his shoulder. Trafalgar Law is letting a Pokemon sit on his shoulder. You may be asking, or some of you may be asking, why I did fan art of Trafalgar Law hanging out with an Umbreon. Well, if you know the YouTuber Teching101, you may have seen his video, Trafalgar Law in Wano. And at the end of the video, because of the fact he had a little Umbreon sitting there, at the end of the video, he started making comments of how he wanted to see fan art of Trafalgar Law and Umbreon just hanging out, having a good time. And I think one of his comments was just hanging around on his shoulder or something. So literally, practically as soon as the video had ended, I went and drew a Trafalgar Law and Umbreon picture. So yeah, that's the story behind this. Now, you may be thinking, if this is an anime manga channel, what is it with all these paintings and the dinosaurs? Well, the simple answer to that is One Piece has dinosaurs. Yes, there are dinosaurs in the world of One Piece. I'm sure I know there's other animes with dinosaurs in it. there's one that's more for little kids called Dino Squad or something like that. You can watch it on, or last I knew you could watch it on Netflix. But One Piece has several different arcs where dinosaurs appear. There is the Little Garden arc in the very beginning of One Piece. There is the current arc Wano. There's the Sabaody arc, and between the Sabaody arc and Wano, I think a dinosaur. Well, I know a dinosaur. I can't remember exactly where, but it might have been during the 2 years time skip when they were showing some stuff that was happening right before the 2 year time skip started. It might have been right in there. I'm not 100% sure, or it was, or even after the 2 years time skip. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, that's why the dinosaurs are here. Part of the reason. That's reason number one. The other part is the same reason as these paintings. I do not own any anime figurines currently. So, because I would like to get some and put them on these shelves, I had nothing else to put here for now. So, for now, until I can get One Piece figurines and other anime figurines, these paintings and these dinosaurs are going to be sitting here. Just that way my display doesn't look so plain. And yeah, that's about it for the paintings and the dinosaur. Now, this wolf. She is, and yes, I said it's a wolf. It looks like a husky, but it also looks like a wolf. So, whether you want to call it a husky or a wolf is up to you. I'm calling it a wolf because I love wolves. They're my favorite animal. Huskies are my favorite dog breed, but wolves are my favorite animal. So I'm fine with you calling her whichever you want, but she is, to me, she's a wolf. She is here because she is an Easter wolf. Because she's an Easter wolf, she has these white and pink bunny ears. So she's got a little white and pink bunny headband on. And she was a gift to me from my sister for Easter. And I decided that she is going to represent one of the two carrots in One Piece. Yes, for those of you who do not know or do not remember, if there's any that do not remember, there is, in fact, two carrots in One Piece. I believe that they are the only two characters with the same name, same first name. And yes, this even means Blackbeard because he's got the name D. They are all somehow distantly related because they have the D in their name. Technically speaking, it's never actually, One Piece has never said that, but they have said that it was a secret family name. So anybody with the name D are related somehow. I don't think they've really considered that. The characters themselves have actually considered that. But they are, in fact, somehow related. I mean, obviously, there's like Monkey D. Luffy, Porpoise D. Ace, Trafalgar D. Waterlaw. So they all share the same middle name, and the penguin here, he's just a cute little penguin my sister had got. He's technically my sister's, but I'm stealing him for my videos. I mean, borrowing him for my videos. He's adorable. But because Trafalgar Law has a member of the crew, of his crew, named Penguin. There is a penguin sitting here. That's the point of Penguin. And I'm even going to refer to him as Penguin, not because he's a penguin, but because Law has a member of the crew named Penguin. So, yeah, that's why there is a giant penguin sitting right here that you can barely see in the frame, but it's okay. Yeah, and other than this little panda, so other than this little panda, that's about it for the display. This panda is, I mean, we're talking about Japan. I mean, it's Japanese anime for one, and there's pandas in China and Japan. So, yeah, there's a panda. So there's going to be a panda stand up there, but he is mainly for Panda Man. And he's just a little clay panda I had made. So he'll be sitting right back here. You probably won't be able to see him too well, but he's back there. So yeah, for the display, I believe that's about it. I am not seeing anything else I really need to talk about, except this little clock. It don't work right, but it's, even though it's made in Germany, I thought it kind of looked like a little Japanese clock, kind of. So I figured might as well just sit it back here. But yeah, that's about it for the display. For the most part, my videos will be basically on One Piece. Or at least in the beginning. I am planning on doing other animes such as Fairy Tail, Sword Art Online, Bleach, yeah, and other animes and mangas, but for now, just for the beginning of my channel, I will talk about One Piece the most. Most of my videos will be on One Piece. Now, how I am going to do this. I will do, like this Friday, when the new chapter comes out, I will do a review on that chapter. I'll give the quick outline, I'll film the review, and hopefully have it up between Friday evening and sometime Saturday. But on top of that, I will also be going back to the beginning of the manga and doing 2 to 3 chapters at a time to get caught up with where the manga is currently at for newer fans. I am doing this for several different reasons. And reason number one is, like I just said, it's for newer fans. I mean, it doesn't matter how old One Piece is going to get. It's going to get new fans over time. I mean, I just started watching One Piece back in 2017 when I was a senior in high school. That's one reason why I'm going to the beginning of One Piece. And I'm going to do this with all of the mangas I review. So, Bleach, that one's done. That manga has ended from what I've heard. So, obviously I'd be going back to the beginning on that one. Fairy Tail, SAO, or Sword Art Online. And I know it's not as popular of an anime, or at least in Japan it's not as popular, but even Ouran High School Host Club, I can review that one. That's one of the first ones I watched, so that, I thought, it was odd, but it was odd in a good way. The first chapter of One Piece, however, I will be doing that one alone. So that one will, more than likely, I will do that one by itself because it's 51 to 54 pages long. I believe it's about 51. It might maybe 54. I know a few of the pages are like cover pages and stuff, but even so, it's a longer chapter. So the video is going to be a longer video. So depending on how long that video is, I'm doing that one by itself. And if it's short enough, I will throw in chapter 2 in there as well. But for right now, chapter 1 of One Piece is going to be by itself. Now, the other reasons why I'm doing this is because, like I just said, I started watching One Piece back in 2017. I was a senior in high school. I had just gotten into anime back in 2015 and 16, my junior year of high school. And so I'm still a fairly new, despite having grown up knowing Pokemon and what Pokemon was and stuff. I mean, I never actually watched it. I just always knew I liked Pikachu. He was adorable. I always liked him. And so despite that, I'm still a fairly new anime fan. So I personally would have liked to watch review videos on the older chapters of the mangas and not just ones on newer videos, because most YouTubers I've noticed who have recently just started out reviewing like One Piece and other anime mangas, they started where the manga was currently left off when they were starting their reviews. And as I said, I would have enjoyed seeing how they would have reviewed the first chapters, the beginning chapters. And another reason, probably the main reason, is I haven't actually read all of One Piece yet. I have read parts of Zou. I've read most of Whole Cake Island or Totland, whichever you want to call it. I call it Whole Cake Island because that's just what comes out. I know it's technically called the Totland arc, but I just call it the Whole Cake Island arc. Just because that's where most of the action stuff, I mean, it's not where most of the action took place, but it's where the chapter was kind of focused around. Not chapter, the arc, but it was kind of focused around for a good portion of the arc. So it's kind of just like what comes out, just out of habit. But the real reason why I started reading One Piece was not my normal reason for reading a manga. With Fairy Tail, for example, I had finished the English, finished the Japanese animes. I had watched all of the English, what they had so far of the English, and then I watched what they had left to film of the English, or to dub of the English, in the Japanese version, which is what I tend to do because I'm a slow reader. So stopping every 5 seconds just to read the subtitles gets really annoying. And not to mention, I find subtitles distracting from the show. So I personally like to watch the English version and then watch the Japanese. I mean, it's not because I like the English better. That's nowhere near the reason. I mean, the Japanese is the closest thing you will get to what the manga actually says, to what actually happens in the manga. Because animes do a really good job, not including the filler, like filler arcs and filler portions in the different episodes for the chapters, like the corresponding episodes to the chapter, but they do a fairly good job at sticking with the manga from from the animes I have seen. So that, unlike most animes and mangas, unlike most mangas I read, the reason I started reading One Piece was not because I had caught up with the anime, but because way back in 2017, when I was still in the Alabasta arc, might have found something out about Sanji that you don't learn until the Whole Cake Island arc, or partially learn in Zou, mostly learn in Whole Cake Island. And how I found this out, I'm not going to say what I found out. I mean, most of you already probably can guess what I found out. But I'm trying to make this a channel for the newer fans, so I don't want to spoil anything in a video that you newer fans are probably watching right now. So, yeah, what happened was clear back in Alabasta, when Ace came in, the first couple episodes we get to see Ace. Vivi and Nami were sitting there talking about how mysterious he was in the anime. I mean, okay, it wasn't in the anime, it was the previous to the next episode. I always enjoyed watching those at the time because they always had the main characters doing a little side story, and I thought they were kind of funny, so I enjoyed watching them. And Vivi and Nami were sitting there talking about how mysterious he was. And Sanji in the background's just like, you two like guys that are mysterious? I can be mysterious too. Take my left eye, for example. And that got me wondering, was there really something mysterious about Sanji's left eye, or were they just making a joke? And I know I have a bad habit of thinking way too much into things, but it got me curious, and I kind of looked up Sanji's left eye on Google and found out there was something about his left eye, but it was nothing anywhere near as mysterious as what I thought it would be, because I had read through his wiki page. That was just the stupidest thing to do ever, because I think it was the very first sentence, it tells you something about Sanji that I should never have known until I got to Zou or Whole Cake Island. Keep in mind, this is clear back in Alabasta. The beginning of One Piece. Or a fairly beginning of One Piece. I mean, it wasn't even 100 episodes into the show yet. So, I found this out, and I ended up looking up YouTube videos on it, because I was just like, well, I already spoiled it anyway. And then after I did that, I started skimming through the manga, trying to find where this gets talked about at, where this happens at, and so then I got to Zou, and I started skimming through Zou, so that's how I read parts of Zou. And then I ended up skimming through Whole Cake Island, and then I finally just started reading Whole Cake Island, even though I wasn't quite caught up. Yeah, that was stupid. So, if you don't like spoilers, do not look up anything about Sanji. You will find something extremely important about him, and just don't look it up. Don't look up anything about Sanji. Just don't do it. Especially if he's your favorite character. Well, I mean, I guess that don't really matter, but if he's your favorite character and you really want this to be a surprise and just shock you, okay, just don't look anything up unless you like spoilers. Just don't. I personally do not like spoilers at all because it takes that impact and the shock and the, well, if it's shocking, but it takes the emotion away. Or it doesn't take the emotion away, it alters the emotion. The emotion isn't quite what it should have been. That same emotion is there, just not as impactful as it would have been if you hadn't found out about it before. You can ask my sister. My sister, I ran downstairs, when I found something out about Ace watching the anime, I just paused it and I'm just like walked downstairs like, no, I ran downstairs like, Aces, and it's like, and it was supposed to be like a really dramatic, funny thing, but it didn't work because everybody just looked at me like, what? And like, you guys completely ruined that. It was supposed to be funny. And now, for the actual review video setup, we will first, the first thing I will do is I will just go over the manga, just what happened in the chapter. So I'll have my tablet sitting here, and I'll have the chapter pulled up, and I'll just go through it and kind of, and as little words, or not as little words, but as quickly as I can, I'll go through the manga without missing anything. And then after I go through the manga, I will recap the characters that we have met. And then after that, I will discuss things that happened in the chapter that I felt was important to the development of the character, like their personality, how they act, how they treat people, stuff like that. From there, if something happens that, if someone says something or does something, or if Luffy sees something, and it may have given him an idea for an attack, I will discuss that. Because I have noticed that Luffy, not with all of his attacks, but a few of them, he has said stuff or done stuff or saw stuff, or someone had said something or had him do something or something that ended up leading to him coming up with an idea for a new attack. So, yeah, Luffy can be an idiot, but he's not as big as an idiot as he lets on if he is capable of putting what he sees and what he does and what other people says and do into coming up with the ideas for new attacks. So he's not as big as an idiot as he lets on. So if something happens that could lead to him coming up with an attack, or has led to him coming up with an attack, then I will kind of discuss that a little bit. And then from there, the fun parts, running gags. this is not just going to be for One Piece reviews, this is going to be for other reviews. If I've noticed that something happens that's kind of funny that keeps reoccurring. For example, I know of 2 animes that does this. Keep in mind, I'm still a fairly new anime fan. So, I have not seen as many animes as a lot of you have. So I've noticed this in at least 2 of the animes I've seen. That's a running gag. The main character, and it's not necessarily always just the main character, but there'd be this character who is one of the main characters. And they would, if they run into someone, like an enemy or something, and if it's someone they don't like, or even if it's someone they do like, but sometimes, very rarely, it's someone they actually like, but a lot of the times, they have a really hard time remembering their name. So what they'll do is they'll come up with really random nicknames. Sometimes they don't make sense, sometimes they make sense. And that's just one example of a running gag but if the chapter has something that could be a running gag, or is a running gag, happen, I will mention that at the end. Just because I feel that might be a fun thing. And if you guys want, you could try to guess which one actually is the running gag in the comments below. For the reviews, obviously, because I'm not reviewing right now, so there is no talk of running gag other than main characters not remembering people's name, mostly just because they don't like them, and sometimes just because. And that's just basically because I feel like that would kind of be fun, like maybe a fun little game. And last but not least, for the review setup, the rating of the chapter. I will, for the most part, okay, how my rating is going to work. I will rate the chapter between 1 and 10, or if you know sign language, 1 and 10. And then after I rate it, I will explain why I gave it that number. For example, it will either, the chapter would have its really serious moments, its awesome fight scenes, has funny moments, has touching moments, so on and so forth, and whether or not it seems to have been well thought out, and just whether or not it was just a great chapter, and whether I thought it was just a great chapter in general or not. Obviously, 1 is the worst, 10 is the best. I will say this, for the most part, there is a couple things that happen in One Piece that might cause me to give it a 1. Might. That is going to be a very rare thing. I already know that. Okay, no, I wouldn't give it a 1, but I'd probably give it like a 3. For the most part, or a 2, sorry. Because there's things that happened in it that I just wish I could just unsee. When I get there, I will tell you what it was. Let's just say Sanji's my favorite character, and Oda completely tried to ruin Sanji for me. It ain't gonna happen, Oda. And that's just all I've got to say about that. But, so for the most part, One Piece chapters are probably going to get a 5 to a 10. Just because right now One Piece is my favorite anime, and I'm really stubborn when it comes to changing favorites on anything. My favorite food has been the same thing since I was like a very, very little kid. Um, my favorite dog breed has been the same breed since I was a very little kid. A special belonging that I've had since I was a little kid is still my favorite thing I own. My favorite thing to do is art. Any and all art, I love it. It's just always been something I love to do. It's literally from the day I was able to hold a pencil, I have been drawing. So my favorite color has been the same thing ever since I was little too. So for me, just my favorite things has been the same for practically as long as I can remember. I will say, however, when I watched Fairy Tail before One Piece, so at the time that was my favorite anime, but I hadn't watched One Piece yet. Then I watched SAO or Sword Art Online after watching Fairy Tail, and that became either a really close second or tied or just barely above One Piece Fairy Tail, because it was a really good anime, or it is a really good anime, and the fight scenes were just awesome. It had amazing fight scenes in it which Fairy Tail, their fight scenes they were good, but they weren't SAO. They were just nowhere near SAO's fight scenes. And then I watched One Piece because I found out about it through the main cast of Fairy Tail, who had said that all of them were in One Piece at one point. And only to find out that more than just the main cast were in One Piece, like for the English dubbed more than the main cast was in One Piece. So that's why I ended up started watching One Piece, because I liked Fairy Tail and I liked the Fairy Tail voice actors for the English dubbed. And I like the original actors, yes, don't get me wrong, I do like the original actors, the original Japanese actors. Of course I like them. The original is always better. The original, anything is always better than the remake. There's just no helping that. But the Fairy Tail actors, I really liked the voice actors, so I thought, okay, so if they're all in it, I have to go check out this One Piece and see what that is. And I did, and I personally ended up liking it better than Fairy Tail. So it's like right now it's One Piece, Fairy Tail, and SAO probably about tied as close seconds to One Piece. So it's probably, if I'm going by fight scenes, it's probably gonna be One Piece, and then very close second with Sword Art Online, and then Fairy Tail probably about down here if I go by fight scenes. In fact, fight scenes, One Piece and Sword Art Online might actually be tied, because Sword Art Online just had really good fight scenes, and One Piece has some really good fight scenes. Not some, it does have really good fight scenes. So that's about it for that section of the video. Now, on to the next type of videos I will be doing. Compare and contrast. What I want to do for this is I would like to go back to the very beginning of One Piece, not only read the manga from the very beginning, but also watch all of One Piece from the beginning in Japanese, because I have not done that yet. And because, like I said before, I typically just start watching the Japanese when I get to the end of where the English dubbed is at. And the only reason I do that is because I'm a slow reader, so pausing every 5 seconds, it's obviously not every 5 seconds, but it's but just having to pause it just to catch what they're saying gets really annoying. So I tend to watch the English version, and then once it gets to the English dubbed, sorry, I'm still a new anime fan, so anime terms are still trying to sink in. Mostly just dubbed. Dub's about the only word that's still trying to sink in. Right now it's still obviously, it's a combination of dubbed and version, just whatever decides to come out. So the English dubbed and is where I watch that until I get caught up with that, and then I'll switch over to the Japanese where the English had left off, and then I'll watch it from there. And I would like to actually watch all of the Japanese. So for the compare and contrast videos, because the words are more like the manga, I'm using that one rather than the English dubbed. So I am also, I'm going back and watching all of the Japanese version as well as reading all of the manga, and I'm going to compare and contrast the chapter with its corresponding episode. And yeah, that's pretty much self-explanatory from there. So that video type is now done. And last but not least, for the absolute end of this video, is my You Decide videos, or my You Decide series. What this is exactly what it said, what the title says. You comment something in the comments below of what you would like to see me do. So, which this could be just about anything, and if I like the idea, I will attempt to do it. So, as long as it remains in the subject of my channel, so anything anime. So this would include doing reviews on other animes or mangas that I haven't started reviewing, or it could be discussing characters in other animes or One Piece or whatever, or just whatever you want. I mean, just anything you want me to do, just comment it below and I'll see what I can do. Even if it's like, give me an idea of something to write and I can write it and possibly act it out. It can be like a script. So maybe if I get figurines, I could do basically a little puppet show for you guys, just for whatever reason, I guess. I don't know, I'm just throwing out ideas of what you could possibly ask me to do. So yeah, that's about it for this video, and I hope you enjoy my channel, and I really hope it's helpful to you newer fans and even some of you older fans. And if I were you, I would definitely check out Tekking's channel. I'll put the link to I'm putting the link to the video of his I discussed earlier below. You have seen, I know you've already seen little Alexandria pop up over here telling you that, but I'm going to mention it again. And yeah, I'll try to have the Chapter 1, One Piece Chapter 1 review up soon. And hopefully I'll be able to get Friday's chapter up hopefully by Saturday. I've got 2 chapters. I'm going to be having 2 chapters to do this week. So we'll try to get chapters 1 and the current chapter up soon. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and See you next time. Sayonara.